Now that we're getting ready to start the 2025 fantasy football season, let's talk. What's that? It's week 12? Producer, hit that button. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Bigz and Schultzy. This is the Week 12 Sit Edition show. It's a playoff hunt right now. This is crunch time, baby. And you got dilemmas all up and down your lineup. And we're here to tell you how to kind of make sense of all that, who to put in the bench and who to put in the team. That's a soccer term. And yeah, let's do this, boys. How we feeling?
Well, I'm wondering how you're feeling, man. I mean, you completely forgot it was week 12. You a little bit of amnesia happening here, or does the fantasy football season just start so quickly that and it ends so fast?
It goes by so fast. Like
every time. It's not fair.
It's not fair. How you doing, Schultzy?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into this. We got some sits to go over and some big names on our list again, and hopefully we, do our viewers good this week. So, Bigz, why don't you start us off with the first sit you got for us?
All right, my first sit is going to be none other than the Bake Show himself, Baker Mayfield. I really, really hate this matchup with the Los Angeles Rams. We saw what the Rams were able to do to the Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold last week. The Seahawks have been chugging along. Sam Darnold was playing real well, and the Rams came to town, or whatever, the Seahawks come into town, and the Rams just absolutely shut them down. Their pressure rates are incredible. Their man coverage is incredible, and Baker has had some down games against Buffalo, which was a tough matchup last week. He had 16.82 points. Somehow, that wound up as a QB7 when in week 1 he was 22.58 fantasy points and QB 12. So he had many fewer points, but a better rank. I just see the Rams really getting to Mayfield. Ibuka is still kind of trying to get healthy every week. Kate Otten had a terrible week last week and gets a terrible matchup again. Chris Godwin's not there. Mike Evans isn't there. This is just not the functional team that the Bucs went into the season thinking that they'd have. Bucky Irving's been hurt. There have been questions about Rachaad White's role, and he's been instrumental in the pass game over the last few years. So it's a terrible week for Baker Mayfield. It doesn't get any prettier for Mayfield for the rest of the season. So if you're riding into the playoffs with Baker Mayfield, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a tough ride. They're starting to maybe get healthier, but we're still not sure what's going to happen here, right, Biggs? I mean, Godwin might return, Bucky might return this week, but what workload, right? I mean, they're going to get a bit healthier this week. Is certainly not the week if you're relying on him, and there's certainly some better quarterbacks out there, in my opinion, headed in this week as well. Yeah, I'm on with you there. Schultz, anything else?
Nope, pretty much hit it there. Yeah, there's some good QB matchups, and this one ain't it.
Speaking of QB matchups, another one that I'm going to talk about here is one of my sits of the week, and honestly, it's just a tough one because he's quietly been one of the success stories of the league, and he's been composed, exactly the steady presence the Colts have hoped for when they handed him the reins. But Daniel Jones, he's helped guided the Colts to an impressive start while completing, that Jonathan Taylor dominant resurgence. That ground game is looking exceptional. Jones has delivered solid fantasy production in most of his matchups. This week presents the kind of roadblock, though, that begins that momentum to a halt, with the Chiefs returning home, and they are desperate. Believe me, they are certainly certainly desperate for a win here. And this game projects to be a grinded out defensive heavy battle where the quarterback's numbers will be hard to come by, I'm thinking, especially on Jones's end. I think this is going to be a really game where they're going to rely a lot on Jonathan Taylor to control the tempo on the road. And he's hovering around the QB 15 for me right now. And outside of that starting range, he's been a starter for most weeks this year. Kansas City is allowing the 13th fewest fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, and they're at home. Jones committed 7 turnovers and took 12 sacks across the last 2 games, which is a troubling stat. And against this Chiefs team, I'm worried about it, needing that win, and they're relying on Jonathan Taylor. So a couple of variables here, like we mentioned in the like when Bigz was talking about his guy there, Baker. Just some better matchups out there that I'm looking to lean on. So yeah, I'm sitting Daniel Jones in 1 quarterback leagues this week.
Yeah, same. I'm in first place. I have him and Dart and somebody else, and I'm rolling with Dart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. 100%. As long as he clears. All right, Schultzy, who do you got as your sit? One of your first sits of the week here, bud.
For me, it's going to be Ashton, Jeanty. It's not been fun. I mean, the Raiders' offensive line is the whole story here. This is nothing against Jeanty. Once the line figures this out a little bit, moving further down his Raiders career, like he's going to excel. Like he's just that fantastic. But it doesn't matter how good you are when you get the handoff and just get smacked. Like that's just the nature of the world he's living in, and it sucks. And here we are, week 12, and you know what? Somehow he's up to he's a high-end RB2, and with how this has played out in the offensive line, like that shows you how good of a player he really is. But this week he's got the Browns, and they give up the 5th least fantasy points to running backs. And I mean, the offensive line versus this defensive line is the big concern here. Myles Garrett, man, I don't know what we got to say. Myles Garrett's a freak, and he's going to absolutely wreck this offensive line. He's going to be able to do it in the run game. The Browns also have 2 good defensive tackles, but mainly here with Garrett, like if you want the Jeanty to have any hope here, it's going to have to be like the passing game, giving them some life, and just like maybe sneaking into the end zone. Like the offense is going to have to be moving through the air to give him even a remote shot at this. I don't see it happening. I just think Myles Garrett's going to absolutely take this game over. We've already seen him, I think, twice this year with 4 sacks in a game. Like he could do it again. So yeah, man, this is going to be rough for the Raiders in this matchup here. And I mean, efficiency-wise, Jeanty's it's not been great. I know I just preached about how bad the offensive line is, but the guy's been over 4 yards per carry twice all season. It sucks, man, and it ain't getting better this week.
Yeah, there have been a lot of indicators that this Raiders franchise really doesn't know what they're doing. And that played out against the Cowboys. Like, how awful have the Cowboys been on defense? And they absolutely shut the Raiders down. One of the things that I've said over the course of the season with Jeanty is they need to get the ball in his hands at least 25 times if they want to have any hope to win. And the games that they've won, they've gotten pretty close to that, or they've done it a couple times, and one they won and one they lost with like a blocked field goal, whatever. But when he has 6 rushes for 7 yards against the Cowboys, when they get 3 first downs total against the Chiefs, those kinds of things, their offensive line is banged up, and they were terrible to begin with, and now they're going with backups, which is even worse. I mean, it just like his talent level hasn't changed. He is still the Ashton Jeanty that like we knew coming into the season. We just had no idea how bad this Raiders offensive line was going to be, and that absolutely kills him in fantasy. So I have a very important league that I think I'm taking the shot with him, but I'm really ready to like swap him out with Etienne and go with Juwan Jennings in the flex. But I'm still not 100% on that decision.
It's a tough one. Yeah, we agree here, Schultzy. All right, let's get into our spotlights, and we'll start with yours, Bigz. Let's roll it.
spotlight to sit is Chase Brown. Chase Brown sitting right up at running back 17 in PPR. There is a chance that Joe Burrow might play this week. I think that could be good for Chase Brown because it can kind of keep the defense honest. But also there's going to be no Jamar Chase because he's on suspension. But this is less of a Chase Brown call and more of a New England Patriots defense call. So you try and look for kind of a silver lining or a way through with upside for Chase Brown. And it really stops at the Patriots defense. They have allowed the fewest rushing yards total per game at 84. So he's not going to do it with a bunch of yards rushing. They are first in yards per rush attempt at 3.92. So he's not going to be breaking off a whole lot of big explosive plays. They're first in rushing touchdowns allowed. They've allowed 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's not likely to get into the end zone. They're first in explosive plays over 10 yards. They've only allowed 10 in 11 weeks. That means that he might have a chance for 1 explosive play throughout the game. And then when you look at them against in pass defense, they allow the fewest number of receptions allowed per game to running backs, the fewest number of receiving yards, and they've only allowed 1 receiving touchdown. This New England Patriots defense against the run game is playing with its hair on fire and absolutely shutting people down. And Chase Brown is just an unfortunate victim of that.
That's crazy. I mean, I had him on the sheet prior to about 2 days ago, and I took him off when I heard the spitting incident because I'm just worried about the amount of targets he may get in the passing game, which would maybe put him into that fantasy relevance. But you mentioned those stats against the receiving work, which is pretty formidable. And that's a pretty daunting task to go up against that New England Patriots defense. So yeah, he could be certainly a sit of the week. And I just didn't have the bollocks to put him on the sheet like you did. So good on you there, Bigz. And let's roll with my sit of the week here. There, Schultzy. So my guy has been pretty much a fantasy lifesaver this season, delivering steady red zone production and sitting on a strong 7 touchdown total entering week 12. So why would I have him on the bench? But once you peel back the surface here and the numbers, the cracks start showing since week 3. And I'm talking about Jake Ferguson here. He's topped 50 receiving yards just once. And over the last 4 games, he's only cleared 30 yards one time. I mean, obviously, when CeeDee Lamb missed some time there, his usage came up, and obviously that's when the majority of those touchdowns happened. And now, they're facing a really, really tough defense in the Eagles, who have been a nightmare against tight ends all year, giving up the second fewest fantasy points to the position and allowing just 1 tight end touchdown the entire season. We already watched this matchup once in 2024, and it didn't go very well. He just ended up with 23 yards and no touchdown. So you're going to have to really rely on the touchdown upside here. And with so many matchups that I'm looking at this week in the tight end position, I think that Ferguson is a must sit with other options available here. So tough defense I'll go up against, and a fleeting role in that Cowboys offense. And when we see what Dak's connection with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb is developed into, I'm sitting Jake Ferguson this week with the Eagles on board.
Yeah, and the Las Vegas Raiders are a surprising matchup against tight ends. They've been pretty stingy, and Ferguson lucked into a touchdown last week. Other than that, he had 4 catches, not many yards. His snap share was down to like 65%, and they had Schoonmaker and Brevin Spann-Ford in the 40s in terms of snap share. So when they do run with 13 personnel, they do have options. They targeted Brevin Spann-Ford. So yeah, he's not a crux of the offensive attack. Let's put it that way. It's Pickens, it's CD, and they're just fine.
Yeah. All right, Schultzy. Interested to see who your spotlight sit is. Let's roll it.
We've got Hey, you guys both hit us with a quarterback sit, so I'm going to hit the trifecta. For
Woo.
me, it's Jordan Love. Got the Vikings this week on deck, and this is just they're like a bottom third, like 20th, 21st, somewhere in that ballpark. Fantasy points to quarterback, so like pretty like it's a little bit of an unfavorable matchup, but it's not like a totally off the cliff matchup. But regardless, the Vikings defense has just been pretty stingy, and they aren't just you're not going to just rack up points on these guys. They've given up 24 points only twice all year, and that was to Baltimore with Lamar and the Chargers handful of weeks back. So they've only really gotten pelted on defense twice, both by good offenses. Jordan Love has racked up his points in very plus matchups. So he's in the league I was looking at, that's pretty standard scoring. He's top 20 points 3 times all year, and that was against the Commanders, the Cowboys, and the Steelers. So he needs a very plus matchup if he's going to be out here stacking up fantasy points for you. And that's just not the case this week. So I'm really don't like what we got going on with Jordan Love. The other thing here for me is no Josh Jacobs. And you might say, well, no Josh Jacobs. They're gonna throw the ball a ton and funnel it through Jordan Love. And hey, you know what? That might be the game plan. But in my opinion, this offense flows through Josh Jacobs, and without him, they're just going to struggle. And it's going to be a rough day for the Packers offense against a pretty good Vikings defense. And for that reason, I'm out.
Well, Josh Jacobs hasn't been ruled out yet either. He's practiced actually in limited fashion today, being Thursday, so he's not ruled out. And it'll be an interesting situation. So whether he plays or not, I still think they're going to rely on that run game. I really like Emmanuel Wilson if Josh Jacobs doesn't play.
I was just about to say that I don't disagree with your sit, but I watched Josh Jacobs for 5 years in Vegas with the Raiders, and another year last year with Green Bay, and he always plays hurt. So it's not
That's
like
true.
It's not an injury that is going to take him off the field. He's going to be in there. It's a knee contusion. He's got
a swelling,
a bruise. So I'm absolutely not worried about Josh Jacobs losing any time at all.
There you go. And I think it's just the swelling. He mentioned that it's just as long as the swelling can come down, he'll get his mobility back. It's not a pain thing whatsoever. So, yeah. All right, Bigz.
You know how shifty Josh Jacobs runs, like prime Barry Sanders.
There it is.
Agility.
He needs to be able to bend his knee. That's all. All right. Let's get on bended knee there, Bigz, and send us home with what we got going on here on the network.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell, subscribe, especially if you're new. We hope you liked what you saw. We do this every week. We give you the sits. I personally try and take somebody in the top rankings of, somebody that's not likely to, Chase Brown. He's a top 24 running back. I say sit him. Baker Mayfield, he's up there. Sit him. And then when we do our start show, which will drop tomorrow, I'm going to give you guys outside of those top 24, top 12, top 36. That's what we do here. We find that edge. So go ahead and watch all of our programming. Our next show starts one, like I said, tomorrow. And then Sunday morning, 8:30 a.m. is Breakfast with Bigz. That's me. I'll do starts and sits questions and show you a cocktail recipe that would be good for an eye-opener, a brunchy brunch. Then we wrap it around the weekend. Following Monday Night Football, on Tuesday, we have our waiver wire show and recap. Then Thursday night, we go live, the live stream, Points After Thursday, immediately at the conclusion of the Thursday Night Football game. So you don't have to, figure out when we're going to start. It's clock goes to 0, we're on air. Watch all those shows. Check out Spilled Coffee. Go to fantasysportsadvice.com. Check out the forum there. It's a great place to interact. Check out our merch store, all that stuff. And we hope you win.
Yeah, we hope you win, folks.
We hope you win.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to fantasysportsadvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to fantasysportsadvice.com today.
I wanted to say, oh yeah, and the Dynasty Pulse.
And we're still recording. So,
Oh,
You said it. Great job.